Greetings, my friends, and welcome. Great to have you here as we have already reached the middle of the week. Here and everywhere on the Excellence in Broadcasting Network, hosted by me, your guiding light of optimism, stick-to-itiveness, and spine. Telephone number if you want to be on the program, 800-282-2882, and the email address, lrushmo at eibnet.com. The city of Baltimore and its government can be characterized in 3 words. And I might add, much of the country can be characterized in 3 words. This is literally incredible. What is going to happen today in Baltimore? I thought, you recall, there was a Sunday night football game in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles are hosting somebody, doesn't matter who, and there was a forecast the day before the game of something like 8 inches of snow. The mayor of Philadelphia canceled the Sunday night NBC telecast, canceled the football game because of the snow and all of the problems it might cause. And I thought at the time, we are being wussified. The wusses are taking over. The wusses are winning. I could not believe it. I remember football games in Denver played in 25-inch snowstorms, and the players loved it. Elway, it was against the San Diego Chargers, and I'll never forget the post-game locker room. These guys, the Broncos won. They were talking about how much fun it was to play in a game like that. You're a kid. And you grow up, you think about playing football. Playing in the snow is just a hoot. It's what every young kid that's interested in football wants to do, in the mud as well. 8 inches of snow, maybe it was a little bit more, I don't know. Cancel the game, reschedule it for the next night because, well, might have accidents on the way to the stadium, and the first responders might not be able to. To me, it was a big red flag. And it's only gotten worse. City government of Baltimore can be characterized, as can much of this nation, 3 words: failure, surrender, and dysfunction. Let me add a word, 4 words: failure, surrender, dysfunction, Democrat. And for those of you out there, and I know you're there. You know who you are. I know who you are. You hear that and you say, come on, Rush, do you have to put politics in everything? Folks, wise up. It is politics that's dictating everything that's happening in this country. There isn't a thing that matters, that's affecting our culture, seemingly insignificant to you, that isn't being caused by politics. And if you don't understand it, it's time to get up to speed and figure out for yourself why all of this is happening, because it is nothing but politics. Let's take a look at what the Democrat Party celebrates, shall we? The Democrat Party celebrates single motherhood. Whenever anybody, particularly Republican conservative, but when anybody comes along and starts touting family values, what does the Democrat Party do and members? They condemn it. What in the world is there to condemn about family values? What in the world could possibly be negative or wrong about family values? Well, now, I know the answer. No, I'm asking these questions rhetorically. I'm trying to get people to wake up and see what literally is happening here. All of the traditions, all of the institutions that have defined this nation, that have set this nation apart, that have made this nation the greatest on earth, are under assault and have been for years by the Democrat Party. And it's coming into sharp focus now because it is effective. The attacks on the traditions and the institutions are succeeding. And one of the reasons they're succeeding is everybody's laying down. Nobody is resisting. We're afraid of offending people. Criminals are now victims. We feel sorry for them. Remember yesterday we had the news the Baltimore City Council was proud to announce that the Crips and the Bloods had come together to help solve the problem. The criminal gangs are being celebrated as problem solvers. Who's running the town then? Who's running the city? By the city councilman's own admission. We celebrate single motherhood. Take a look at this mother. Her name escapes me at the moment. The one who saw her son on TV in Baltimore in a riot with a brick in his hand and left her house, went out and found him and slapped him upside the head and brought him back inside, and she was a hero. And she's been all over the network morning shows, CBS this morning. In fact, I've got sound bites here if I can remember where it is. Find it for me, Mike, while I'm doing this, and shout in my ear what the numbers are. The point is, this woman's being celebrated as a hero. This woman has 6 kids, no husband, no job. She just moved into a new house. She has no means of... She's trapped. This is a woman who's obviously trying. She is trapped. Thank you. She is trapped in a city. She's trapped by a political party. I'm not saying she has no responsibility for the situation she's in. Don't misunderstand. But clearly, this woman wants a different life, wants a different way. She's being celebrated as a hero, which is a good sign. But nevertheless, her circumstances are sad, infuriating. 6 kids, no husband, don't know how many fathers were involved or how many men were involved. No job, no prospect for a job. The economy stalled. The growth rate is less than 0. It's an absolute disaster that is happening in way too many parts of this country. And single motherhood is one of the big selling points of the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party has celebrated, lionized, promoted single motherhood. Why? Because the Democrat Party gets to be the dad. The Democrat Party running the government, state, federal, local, you name it, they get to be the husband. With no concern for what it is doing to the people involved. It's destroying them. It's destroying their dignity. It's destroying their future. It is entrapping them into lives of servitude and no dignity and dependence on a system that has been proven to be ineffective in supporting them and helping them. How many years has this been going on? The evidence is in. It doesn't work. It's destroying things. It's destroying cities. It's destroying people. And yet the foundation, the building block for good, solid futures, at least the opportunity for one, the American family, under assault by the Democrat Party. Whenever anybody comes along and touts family values, they're laughed at, they're mocked, they're made fun of. And the reason is they're a majority, or they used to be. And as a majority, it's unfair they're that way. We have to pay attention to the people who aren't. We have to pay attention to people with broken families. Well, who broke the families? Who enabled that to happen? Democrats. We end up feeling sorry for criminals. Yeah, we feel sorry for them. We feel sorry for the Crips and Bloods. We feel sorry for all these poor victims, and they're the ones that get all the attention. And then Mrs. Clinton comes around and says we're putting too many of them in jail today. When do we get to that soundbite? We got Mrs. Clinton and a couple soundbites. She spoke out today. We are incarcerating too many people. And I'm going to let you hear a soundbite from her husband back in the 90s praising his 100,000 new cops idea. It was her husband's idea to put all kinds of new cops on the street in this country to deal with crime. 20 years ago. Guess that doesn't count anymore. Now we have too many cops, and now we have too many cops pursuing too many criminals, and that must stop. Really, seriously, Democrat Party, thank you. Our exceptional nation was built on an exceptional constitution and was built on families and the concept of freedom and liberty and private property. Families where children have 2 parents and at least one of them has a career. And that is attacked. That is mocked. That is laughed at. That is said to be old-fashioned. That is said to be unworkable because it doesn't work for everybody. Look where the Democrat Party has focused their attacks. Just take a look at this. This is not me claiming anything. I'm just pointing things out. The Democrat Party has been attacking marriage as it has existed for millennia. The Democrat Party is attacking Christians and Christianity as it has existed for millennia. The Democrat Party attacks and is attacking school choice, a simple plan to give parents, like the woman in Baltimore, an opportunity to send their kids to a decent school rather than a dilapidated shack populated and administered by Democrats. What else does the Democrat Party attack? Free markets. Free markets, trickle down. Doesn't work. Unfair. 1% get rich, take everybody's money and don't give it back and don't share it. We can't rely on the free market. The free market celebrates Wall Street criminals. The free market, you've heard the riff. You've heard the criticisms of the free market. Everybody who works hard, everybody who achieves something to the Democrat Party is a suspect, needs to be investigated, needs to be impugned and discredited, because not everybody can or should be able to succeed, so it's humiliating to those who don't. The Democrat Party is attacking this nation's borders. The Democrat Party has been at the forefront of seeing to it that the identity of this country is dropped and changed and transformed in their minds, hopefully forever. The Democrat Party attacks the rule of law. I mean, I could go on and on. The Democrat Party's enemies list is every successful big corporation, big beer, big beverage, big oil, big pharmaceutical, big retail, big auto. Take a look at who they attack each and every day. Industries, individuals, people, institutions. And they claim none of it works. It's unfair, it's unseemly, and look at what they end up providing as an alternative. I give you Baltimore, Detroit, pick your spot. Go anywhere where the people attacking everything traditionally, institutionally great about this country, go anywhere where those people are running things the way they think things should be run, and ask yourself if you'd want to live there, if you had a choice. Now we have the Baltimore. And what's the prescription? What's the prescription for a cure? Why? More of the same. Barack Obama says that the problem is the fault of the Republicans. Did you hear that? And you know why? You know, the Republicans have stood in the way of funding. The Republicans have refused to allow funding and spending for the inner city because the Republicans, he didn't say it, it's implied, are racist pigs. It's funny how all of this always comes back, as far as the Democrats are concerned, to the Republicans' fault, and you can't find a Republican anywhere in Baltimore that has the power to do anything. And you haven't been able to for 50 years. Same thing Detroit, same thing anywhere where the left has been in power for decades. You can't find a Republican to blame. They aren't there. Not in positions of power. According to the Heritage Foundation, since 1965, American taxpayers have spent over $22 trillion on anti-poverty programs, 3 times the cost that we have spent on all the wars in our history. And Barack Obama says the Republicans are responsible for Baltimore because they have stood in the way of funding. In the mid-90s, the figure was $5 trillion. We had transferred, there had been a transfer of wealth or a redistribution. $5 trillion had been spent on the welfare state as of the mid-'90s. That figure is now $22 million. Look at how much we're spending per student in the public school system, 17, 20 grand. And if you look at Baltimore, 16%. 16% can read and write at an 8th grade level. Those people end up being in the gangs, and that's who we're told hold the keys to solving the problem. City Council says so. $22 trillion. That, again, 3 times the cost of all of the wars in our entire history. And there's going to be a baseball game there today in about an hour and 45 minutes. They're going to play a baseball game, Camden Yards, and they're not going to let a single person who built it into the place. The taxpayers are not being allowed in. Why? It's too dangerous. It's too provocative. We can't guarantee safety. They're going to play a baseball game. Chicago White Sox, the Baltimore Orioles, and there's not going to be anybody in there but the media in the press box. Unfreaking believable. That's right, my friends. Baltimore is going to pay tribute to gangs and community organizers and freelance thugs today. The Baltimore Orioles will play at Camden Yards without fans because it's too dangerous. You know how much economic impact a baseball game, a baseball season has in Baltimore that's being shut down today? It's incredible, the economic impact of a home game for the Baltimore Orioles. And it's just going to be wiped out because they don't have the courage to let fans in because they don't think they can control the riffraff. It's unprecedented. According to John Thorne, the official historian for Major League Baseball, this will be a first. There's never been a game played before an empty stadium. The previous low record for attendance happened September 28th, 1882, for a game in Worcester, Massachusetts. The lowest attended game. 1882 is back in the days of the founding of the game. So we have yet another unprecedented moment to add to our long list of unprecedented things since the golden age of Obama. I can't help but think back to 2008 and all the hope and change, and all the vibes that people had, man, and feeling happy. All this new transformation, boy, it was going to get so much better because that Bush, he was so stupid, he was so bad, he was so idiotic and so mean, and Obama was going to fix it all. By the way, little heads up on a stat that'll be relevant in moments. The Left-Wing Justice Policy Institute. Yep, Justice Policy Institute reports 225,000 more blacks were incarcerated under Bill Clinton than under Ronald Reagan, the Republican president most disliked in black America and the Democrat Party. And it's like that practically everything you look at. And the Democrats get a pass on the hypocrisy and the damage that they are incurring on this country with everything they do. And we'll be back. That's right. According to a report that I saw, ladies and gentlemen, the Crips and the Bloods are out there protecting property. Some property. When the rioters get near a black-owned business or a Muslim-owned business, the Crips and the Bloods and the Nation of Islam move in and say, no, not here. And they steer them to businesses owned by Chinese families and Indian families. If you want to go destroy a business, go down there. And they steer them at shops owned by people other than African Americans. And these are the people being praised as the people that have the answers to the problems in Baltimore. City councilmen talking about how they've all come together here. Can you imagine, folks? Can you imagine living in a place where the people that run the city call a press conference and want applause and gratitude for working with the gangs in order to keep some semblance of order? The inmates are running the asylum. And there's no condemnation of this. There's only a celebration of it, as though it's job well done. What in the world kind of standards must there be in liberalism for this kind of jaundiced, 180 degrees out of phase value systems to have surfaced? And the canceling, not canceling, but not allowing fans into this baseball game. At first, I thought it was last night, so I turned on the tube and I searched for the game, and I found that it was postponed. So what's this? They ended up canceling. I found it was played today at 2:05. And I'm curious. There has to be a public address announcer. The public address announcer is who makes it official that people are in the game. Pinch hitters, pitching changes, this kind of thing. The media is going to be up there in the press box. And there will be concessions and food galore for them. Will they play commercials on the scoreboard between innings? Will they take the usual 3 or 4 minutes between innings that they would if the game were televised, or will we just race through it? There won't be any hot dogs. That's the point. There won't be any hot dogs. There won't be any cotton candy. There won't be anything. No seventh inning stretch. There's no reason to stretch. I mean, are they going to play music before the game during BP? Will they play commercials between innings? Will they do the things they normally do with fans? What's it going to be like for the players? Do you realize the people in the press box are going to hear everything that is said on the field in this circumstance where you normally never can? I wonder if people who watch a game on TV, if they have it mic'd such a way that the TV viewer will be able to hear all this stuff. What's it going to be like for the players? They're going to be playing a game. They never play before no crowds. Maybe spring training is the closest you could get, but there's always people milling around. But the pace of the game is what's going to be interesting thing to me. Anyway, I think the capitulation that is taking place here, the surrender, the caving, it's just incomprehensible. And all for the so-called safety of things.